Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what the recent sell-off inside of Bitcoin means, the FOMC meeting that is coming out tomorrow that will dictate the rate hike that we're going to experience. Every single one of these meetings has produced a rally inside of the Bitcoin markets, and for today's video, we're going to be talking about what this means moving forward in this cycle. We're also going to be wrapping up this video by giving you guys a new batch of altcoins, some old that I've already talked about on this channel, and some new ones that you're definitely not going to want to miss out on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now as we start this video, I wanted to quickly talk about something that I think is very, very important. For the last 6 months, every single time we've had an FOMC meeting and the Federal Reserve has determined what the rate hike is going to be, it's always been, for the last 6 months anyways, a 50 BPS hike. And this has been a very bullish thing. It's the reason why the market started to bottom in June. They stopped going any lower. Even though we had the black swan event that was the FTX collapse, every single one of these meetings has been a very bullish thing, especially for us to start a new bull cycle. Now, for the first time in the last 6 months or so, we are now looking at the probability at 99.6% that the next hike, being tomorrow, is going to be 25 BPS. Now, the lower that these hikes go, the better it is for the markets, because the interest rates rising is actually a very bearish thing for the markets. The lower the interest rates, the easier it is for the average person to go out and get a loan. The more loans, the more money gets pumped back into the markets, and that's just the way the markets work. For the last 12 years, we had very low interest rates, which was combined with the markets going up, and I think all of that really fueled itself. Record low interest rates for the last 12 years is really the reason why we saw such a massive 12-year bull run. Right after the 2008 financial crisis, they lowered interest rates. Interest rates were sitting upwards of 6 to 8% right before the housing collapse happened. After the world financial crisis happened, they lowered interest rates to record lows, and then we watched as the market rebounded. It's because people were willing to loan money, they were buying houses, they were investing into the markets, they were doing anything that they wanted to. And when people are buying and spending money, that's ultimately good for the markets. It's good for companies, earnings go up, and all of that stuff feeds into itself. And so with now, we're looking at, for the first time in, like I said, about 6 months, we're looking at a 99% certainty that we're going to get another drop inside of the interest rates, and this is going to ultimately be bullish for the cryptos. So with that being said, let's talk about Bitcoin today, analyze what the heck is going on. Now, I didn't get to yesterday's video, but yesterday we had this big sell-off. Over the weekend, on Sunday, we had this big pump. We tried to break out. Generally speaking, on the weekend, if you see a market start pumping, it's not a very bullish sign because the market doesn't really do anything without the help of the SPX. The SPX is closed on the weekends, so whenever Bitcoin starts ripping up on the weekends, it's usually a sign to stay away from that pump, and that's exactly what happened. The market opened on Monday, Bitcoin sold off with the SPX, and we came all the way back down to basically this support level right here. And so now that it stands, we've bounced up a little bit. We're going back up into our resistance level inside of this range. And so it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen, but with the market pricing in the certainty that the market is going to be seeing another FOMC drop in the interest rates, then at that point we would expect that that's a bullish sign. Now, there is the analysis to be made that maybe because it's already priced in, people have already been buying with that expectation, which is really why the market was rallying up so hard throughout this period. And so with a 99% certainty that we're going to get that 25 BPS decrease from the 50, there could be the argument to be made that we actually see a little bit of a sell-off. Nonetheless, it's a bullish thing because, like I stated, guys, if we go back and look at the price history of Bitcoin, pretty much since June, when the whole markets were crashing and collapsing, they started to lower. We were looking at 100 BPS at the very top of the cycle, then we were dropped down to 75 BPS, and then at this point here in June, they started to hit with 50. And throughout this entire period of time, as we've been consolidating inside of this range, we've been seeing 50 BPS. They haven't changed it, they haven't raised it, they haven't lowered it, it's just been set at 50 BPS. Even throughout this period, when the FTX collapsed. In my opinion, if FTX didn't collapse, we wouldn't be at this low. We most likely would have held support throughout here. We could have retested our June lows, but I don't think that we would have gone all the way to a brand new low. That's just my opinion. But nonetheless, guys, now that we're looking at an even bigger decrease from the 50 BPS, I find it hard to believe that this is going to be a bearish thing for the price, although anything can happen. With a 99% certainty, that means everybody's kind of already expecting it. And so the more people that expect something, the less likely it is to continue to play out. If 50 BPS was bullish and now everybody's expecting a 25 BPS, we could actually see this end up rinsing for one more sell-off. It could open up in the market being bearish, and that's just something to consider. I don't know what's going to happen. What I would believe is the logical thing is that the markets pump, but anything can happen inside of these markets. And so I did want to give you guys that little update just because of the fact it's kind of going to be a volatile week. We've got a lot of different things. There's going to be Google earning reports. There's going to be job reports. How many jobs have we gained? How many have we lost? All of this is going to factor into this week, which can be a very volatile thing. Overall, I think that all of these earnings can be a bullish sign. I know that the 25 BPS is going to be a bullish sign. Whether the market reacts in that way is yet to be decided. We're just going to have to wait and see. Now, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this. We're going to get into these altcoins on today's video. So remember, guys, if you want to follow these signals before I ever talk about them on YouTube, you have to join the signals. Inside of the signals, you're going to see every single entry and exit that I post, when I get in, when I plan to get out. And so if you're looking at any of these tokens on today's list, just remember that the best way to get early into these is actually through my Discord server. So links are in the description. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first one on today's list is going to be yieldification. Now, YDF, in my opinion, is one of my favorite long-term holds heading into this next cycle. It's only at about $15 million in market cap, and it's truly one of the very best cryptos out there as far as looking at cryptos around that 10 to 20 mil market cap, because these guys are actually implementing different strategies, yield strategies, through the assistance of NFTs. NFTs, in my opinion, are going to be the biggest and most bullish prospect. I shouldn't say the biggest, but they're going to be one of the top 3 biggest prospects heading into this next cycle. While everybody's writing them off, they've had this nasty bear market. Ethereum crashed 80%. NFTs lost value against Ethereum. You know, they pretty much got washed out entirely. It's been one of the biggest bear markets as far as NFTs go than we've ever really even seen. The only other comparison I would say is like ICOs, but most ICOs disappeared and none of them ended up actually making another cycle. I do believe that what we're seeing with NFTs is a different sign of that. NFTs themselves might not be valuable if you're looking at what the conglomerate was that was launched in the last cycle. Most of them won't ever rebound, but the ones that are continuing to build throughout the bear market, and most importantly, the cryptos that are now utilizing NFTs for yield, I think that that's going to be the next big step for the crypto development. Really, just the JPEG images, you know, they were kind of cool back in the last cycle, because that was really the only use case that NFTs had up to that point. I do believe that a lot of those images are going to do well, specifically Bored Ape Yacht Club, the CryptoPunks, and maybe some of the other ones in the top 10 in market cap, or in total volume, I should say. And the reason why is because they have the first mover's advantage. They have the collectible aspect kind of already on lock. They have the big community. And so this idea that NFTs are only going to be around for the collectability is, in my opinion, a very small-minded perspective. What we will see over the course of this cycle is NFTs taking off that bring opportunity for earning yield, that bring opportunity for getting into early access and things. They have to have some type of value proposition aside from the fact that it's just a cool picture. There will be cryptos that do well because of that, but I think that the real value to be made with NFTs is offering yield, and that's what YDF does. If you go ahead and buy their token YDF and you go and stake it on their website, you earn an NFT that represents your portion of the yield that you're going to earn. I'm actually locked up for 360 days. I've got 2 different stakes opened on my investment, and both of those stakes are earning me 50% APY. With this being such a low market cap crypto, the gains are going to get very big when these things break out, especially if we're looking over the course of a whole cycle. One of the hardest things that we can do is actually hold the entirety of a cycle, because when we're buying in at the very low underground stages of this development and they pump up 10, 20x really quick, everything in your mind is going to be telling you to sell. And that's the way the markets work. It's not a bad thing necessarily, but I purposely locked up my YDF, not all of them, but a good majority of them, just so I could prevent myself from selling when the market hype comes in. If I'm able to earn 50% added interest off of my YDF stake, and YDF goes upwards of 100, 200 million, even to potentially $1 billion in market cap, that's going to be a huge reward come the end. And the worst thing I can do for myself is get in the way of my own profit. Now, I love this crypto for a couple different reasons. Number one, it's showing very clear symmetry with the cycle. It looks like we've completed the market cycle and we're now ready to start breaking out. If we can see here, if I draw a resistance line, this resistance line takes us from the all-time high of the first move, and it was also our first lower high after we ended our bear market. Now, if you guys notice here, we're actually creating a double bottom formation. Double bottom formations are one of the most bullish chart patterns that exist. That's what Ethereum did back from 2019 to 2020. It's what Bitcoin did from 2015 to 2016. And it's what a lot of cryptos do after a bear market ends. Now, the way that you would target this market, you have the downtrend, then you have the double bottom, and then once we actually break out of the high, of the lower high, I should say, right here. Once we break out and make our first higher high into the new bull trend, the target is literally the all-time highs. And so we're expecting that now that we've flipped this resistance level as support and we're getting continuation, we would expect that this market itself is going to trend all the way back up to those all-time highs and eventually break all-time highs. And if what we're looking at today is an example of that, from where we're at right now, just to the all-time highs, we're looking at almost a 2x return, which is why I wanted to give you guys this opportunity. I think it's going to be a really solid pick. I'm actually holding a lot of this for the long term. It's not just some low time frame scalp that I'm trying to earn. It's something that I genuinely believe in from a fundamental perspective. So now that we have our confirmation, we have the breakout of the double bottom formation, I really do think that this is one that you guys should be paying attention for. And if you do want to actually go ahead and stake, if you guys go and buy this, we're both going to get a bonus if you guys actually follow my link, which I'll link it in the description. This will take you directly to their staking website where you can go ahead and stake. You can stake off multiple different chains, Arbitrum and Ethereum. And from that point, you know, you're going to be able to hold like I am. There's a bunch of different categories for how long you want to stake. You don't have to lock up your funds for 360 days like I did, but that's what I wanted to do to prevent myself from selling because I really do believe in this one long term. Next up on the list is going to be Bytes. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with this project, this is a Web3 gaming project built by Alex Becker and Elio Trades, and it is all centered around the Neo Tokyo NFTs. If you guys aren't familiar with Neo Tokyo, I would highly recommend going and doing some research. I bought my first Neo Tokyo NFT just the other day, and I've been watching these guys for a long time. I actually watched Alex Becker back in 2018 before he was ever in crypto. I watched his YouTube channel, and he's a very smart guy. He's built a lot of really cool things, and now that he's positioning himself inside of crypto, I firmly believe that this is a project that you're not going to want to miss out on. Now, be warned that they are actually getting ready to release a new version of Bytes called Bytes 2.0, and so anybody that buys right now is ultimately going to have to convert into Bytes 2.0. But I wanted to share with you guys the chart right now because it's very undervalued and it looks insanely bullish. This looks exactly the same as what we saw back here for the 2019 to 2020 consolidation for Ethereum. And this is the double bottom formation. It's just another example of a double bottom. Inside of Ethereum, we saw our double bottom like this, and our range high was like this. Even though our range high, our second attempt at a breakout didn't quite hit all the way, it's still a double bottom. You have support, you have resistance, you retest support in the same way, double retest, which is double bottom. And once we actually flip the resistance level as support right here, it's a reversal of the entire trend. And we all know what happened with Ethereum after it did that. Now, with that being said, what we're looking at here with Bytes is pretty much the same thing. The only real difference here is our bottom didn't even come all the way back down here, but it's still pretty much the same pattern. It's the emotions that I'm trying to point out here. We see a low, we rally into resistance after the end of our bear market, we come back down to this mid-range point, we make another attempt at a breakout, this gets stuffed, and then this what sets us in for our final capitulation and our second bottom right here. It's the same thing that happened with Ethereum. I've seen this pattern play out a million times. If you've been watching all of my videos from this channel, you'll know that I've pointed out this pattern 100 million times. We see it with YDF. It's a little bit of a different example. This is a little bit more of a clear example of a double bottom. But with this one, this is kind of where we get a fake out, right? Instead of just coming right down to the bottom and then breaking out like we saw with YDF, this one rallies back up into resistance, and we get one more final capitulation and a retest of that support. And so after that point, we've literally just seen a stacking impulse. This was wave 1, wave 3, wave 5. We saw an ABC correction back down, ABC. And now we're starting the beginning stages of that new trend. We actually just saw another impulse right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC back down. And so this is looking exceptionally bullish. This is pretty much right at the same point that ETH was right before we began the next impulse that flipped our resistance and set us in for a confirmed double bottom. Now, if we're looking at this chart, guys, what these were valued at the very peak all-time high, we're looking at, from right now, about a 52x return. Now, like I stated, we're going to actually get a new token that's going to be released called Bytes 2.0, and so everybody's going to have to convert these tokens to Bytes, and then it'll be a brand new chart. So it's not going to have any price history, but the reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because what the next token is going to do, it's going to pick up where this one left off. And so with that in mind, this is what it's looking like on the big picture market cycle. This was one of the most hyped projects. It was one of the most hyped NFTs. There's only 2,000 of the NFTs, and by getting into them, there's a number of different aspects that you're going to get access to by joining inside of their Discord server. And I can't really speak on that because it's supposed to be a secret. By me going out and telling you what you get access to, it's kind of like me tainting the secrecy of the overall NFT project. So do your own research into this. I'm really bullish in this. I'm just sharing with you guys the token price because I firmly believe that this is going to set in a lot of new hype. And so if you guys want to get access to this, highly recommend accumulating. It's got a low market cap. It's only at 10 mil market cap, and the returns are looking pretty solid. Once Bytes 2.0 comes out, I firmly believe that this thing's going to rocket, and we're looking at about a 2.5x just to the next resistance. So that is Bytes. Now next up is going to be Hamachi Finance. Now I talked about this one on my YouTube channel. If you guys remember, we were about right here in this consolidation, and from that point we got a nice blow off top that ended. We got a bear market decline, and our bear market took us fairly close to where I originally gave the entry point. We consolidated for a lengthy period of time. You know, we ultimately broke out of our resistance here, retested as support, and from that point, we've just been getting impulses and higher highs and higher lows all the way into the next cycle. Now, guys, what's interesting that has just happened, even if you were somebody that bought the very peak all-time high, we have now broken all-time highs, and we are heading into price discovery. This is just the first impulse into a new cycle, and it's currently still sub $3 million in market cap. We had 1, 2, we had 3, 4, and then we had 5 waves up, followed by an ABC correction back down, and now we're in the next stages of an impulse. This is a very, very bullish chart. I love the way that this is accumulating, and it's looking very much like we're destined for another massive move into a wave 3. Keep in mind, guys, that this first impulse is just a wave 1, and we're working on wave 3. And if we're working on wave 3, we can use Fibonacci as kind of a guide to dictate where this thing could potentially go. And the way we do that is through this trend-based fib. A wave 3 cannot be smaller than a wave 1. And so what that means is we have to go to at least the 1618 for this to be a confirmed wave 3. Like I stated, we have clear Elliott wave structure all the way through, so I do believe that we're going to go to at least the 1618, which if where we're at today, if you were to buy, or if we come, I think that we'll actually end up retesting the all-time high. So if you're able to buy off this red line and hold, you're looking about pretty close to a double your money opportunity. Now, oftentimes inside of a wave 3, they're going to be much more expansive than the wave 1. I believe that that's going to be the case, especially with this being a low cap crypto. And oftentimes they can rally all the way up to the 2618. So if you were able to buy at the all-time high and hold up here, you're looking at almost a 2x return. Here's the tricky part when it comes to these low market cap plays. There's so much new hype that can come into a cycle. There's so many new buyers that can enter at once. And so where we might use Fibonacci as somewhat of a guide to go off of, it's not like we have to obey this by any means. Like I say, we have to go to at least the 1618 for this to be a confirmed wave 3. So that's the one rule that we can count on. After that, you know, it's all bets aside. We don't know what's going to happen. This thing like I believe it will, is going to far surpass a lot of people's expectations. This one is literally earning people a ton of different rewards paid out in other cryptocurrencies. By holding Hammy and staking it, you're literally able to get exposure to other you're able to get exposure to other cryptos built on Arbitrum. Many cryptos on Arbitrum are setting up for massive cycles. A lot of the DeFi money is flowing off of Ethereum and going into Arbitrum's chain, and that's why Hammy is such a good opportunity, because by holding and staking Hammy, you're literally able to earn a basket of other cryptos. Now at the current time, all of the holders are actually earning RDNT tokens. I've already earned about $700 to $800 worth. And if we go over here and look at the price of RDNT, you guys are going to kind of know what I'm talking about. This thing is setting up in a big way. I firmly believe that this is going to take off, and that was kind of always the value proposition of why you would invest into Hammy as a whole. By holding it, you're getting investment opportunities into other cryptos built on Arbitrum. Like I stated, I've been able to accumulate about $700 to $800 worth of a position here inside of Radiant. And in Radiant, this is a very, very bullish looking chart. Very obvious accumulation throughout here. Now that we're getting our next stages of an impulse, this thing's going to take off in a big way. And if we start breaking out from here, and we go to our all-time high, that's looking like almost 100% gains. And so if you're sitting there and you want a position in something, and you also want to be able to accumulate other tokens in the process, Hamachi Finance is an amazing opportunity to do so. So I highly advise into at least checking it out. Like I stated, I already talked about this on one of my latter videos, and so if you guys have already watched my channel, been watching for a while, some of you guys already got into this call, and now you're in profit even if you bought the very peak all-time high. So with that being said, if you are going to hold Hamachi Finance, stake it, because there's no point in holding Hamachi unless you're going to actually stake it. You can actually unstake it at any point. There's not going to be any sort of reason not to stake it. There's not a locking period or anything like that. It's one thing to just pay close attention for it, because I do believe that this is going to be a real project that lasts over the course of this cycle. Now, next up on the list is going to be Goblin. Now, guys, this is going to be the first rebase token built on Arbitrum, and it's currently sitting at $1.5 million in total market cap. I got in earlier to this one. Me and my group were buying at $270, so we are up a little bit from that point, but it's not up so much that, you're not late to the party by any means. Now, I will say that out of all of them on the list today, this one is going to be the highest risk, because it's hard to say what's going to happen with it. If we go and look at the website of Goblin, you guys are going to get a little bit of an idea of what happens here. So basically, the APY is currently set at 69.5%. And it changes. At first it was only 25,000 when I joined, then it bumped up to 69,000, and so it's got a very low supply. And the way that this works is by staking Goblin, you then earn Ingot, which is basically wrapped Goblin for the most part. And by earning that, you're literally earning this massive APY. And so if you were to hold 5 days, you're earning 9, almost 10% every 5 days. All of those rewards go back into the staking contract, and they auto compound. So if you're looking at this as a rebase opportunity, some of the bigger rebase opportunities that have been out there, they hit multi-billions of dollars in market cap. Those were rebase tokens built on Ethereum. This is the first one built on Arbitrum. You get to ignore all of the fees, the gas fees and all that stuff, the slow congestion that happens inside of the Ethereum network. And I believe that this one has a good opportunity of running up in a big way. With this one only sitting at $1.5 million in total market cap, if this does only a fraction of what all of the other rebase tokens that I've seen do, then you're literally looking at a 100x opportunity. At 1.5 mil market cap, you're looking at a huge return if we only hit $100 million in market cap, right? Even looking at a 10x if we hit $15 million in market cap. A 15x paid out in a token that is then earning you 69% annual interest, or 10% every 5 days. It's very much a risk-on investment. We don't know if this is ever going to go to those valuations. I'm going to be honest right now. I am holding this one. I'm not using anybody for exit liquidity. I'm holding this one to at least 10K per token. That's just the basic way that I'm playing this, because I do believe that if this one is going to end up doing what other rebase tokens have, this is a huge home run for early investors, which is why I wanted to give you guys this example today. And so as it stands right now, what I see based off of this chart, it looks like we're now retesting our trend line once again. We've been building off of this trend line for a while now. We have made a secondary attempt at a breakout of the all-time highs. We corrected all the way back down, and it looks like an ascending triangle from my perspective. Keep in mind that if we do break this trend line, I do still plan on holding. I'm not going to be selling by any means. I'll actually be looking to buy more. But with us now looking like we're retesting this trend line once again, I wouldn't be surprised if we bounce off of this and then we actually start breaking out and going into another brand new cycle. And our next target's going to be about $1,000 for every goblin. I know that people will probably end up selling at that price, specifically people that have been all the way down here from around $100 to $200. And so I plan to hold to $10,000. This is pretty much one of those make it break it cryptos. I'm holding for the long term, and I'm looking to hold to at least $10,000 because if this thing takes off like I think it will, if it takes off like other Rebase tokens have, this one could be a real home run, and it's the first Rebase token built on Arbitrum. The money's on Arbitrum, guys. You need to learn how to bridge, and if you wait all the way to the end of this video, I will actually teach you guys how to do so. It's not hard, it's really simple, and you're missing out on a lot of money by not playing around on these Arbitrum plays. So, finally, the last one on today's list, we're just going to be talking about Mummy Finance once again. Mummy Finance has broken out. From my video, we were basically right here, and right before I finished the video, we made this massive breakout. Now, as it stands right now, we are getting continuation. We are breaking out and making another new all-time high, and so I do think that this one's going to take off in a very big way. If you've been part of this channel watching, you got in over here at this level, and you're up currently about 137% or so. And so I do believe that this one's going to take off in a big way. I'm very bullish on GMX, and Mummy Finance is a fork of GMX built on Phantom Network. Phantom is one that I think is going to do very well over this cycle, and I think that this one is a direct competitor to GMX, being a hard fork of it, obviously. If you guys go and use GMX and you stake on GMX, and then you guys decide to go ahead and stake on MMY, it's exactly the same. The dashboard's exactly the same. There's no difference. But the staking on MMY is literally 80%, and what I'm doing is I'm taking all of my rewards that I earned from staking, and I'm compounding those automatically inside of the smart contract. So all of the rewards I'm getting, I'm throwing them back into the smart contract so that I can get an even higher APY. So if you guys are interested in doing so, if you follow this signal and you have your Mummy tokens, there is no reason not to be staking these, especially with how proven GMX is. The staking contract is rock solid. It's held all of the biggest sell-offs throughout our bear market. It's held up throughout all of the biggest sell-offs, even after the FTX collapse. So with that being said, if you guys want to earn close to 80% rewards, I will post a link in the description to go ahead and do so. This is a huge opportunity. Very early opportunity, and I plan on holding this one for the long haul of this cycle. We're already in great profits based off of the call given. If you guys want to learn more, links are in the description. With that being said, guys, thank you all so much for the support of this channel. It means so much to me to see all of the views starting to come back. There was a long period where I just thought that my channel was dying. Everybody gave up on anything that I had to say. 80% of the comments were angry towards me, and it really made me feel bad. I'm not going to lie. I'm somebody that genuinely wants to see everybody profit, and whenever we're in a bear market, everybody's losing money, everybody's really angry with me. It makes me feel bad because some of you guys say some hurtful stuff, and I just have to remember that it's all emotional based. It's all part of the market cycle. Once the money started to come back in, once Bitcoin started breaking out, the whole script flipped. Everybody was happy. Everybody was positive. And so it was just my first cycle having a YouTube channel with a lot of people following me, and so I was unaware of how crazy it actually gets, how much emotion is at its peak when we're at the peak point of the bear market, how angry everybody is. And so everybody that stuck around and continued to support, thank you guys so much. Anybody that stuck around and even was spreading hate in the comments, thank you so much either way. It's because of you guys that I'm able to do what I do every single day, and so I just want you to know from the very bottom of my heart, I love each and every one of you. I cannot wait to see you guys make a lot of profit, and these are going to be cryptos that I think have that opportunity. If you're somebody that doesn't have a ton of money to spread amongst all of these, I would highly advise YDF. This one's my favorite one of the list, which is why I made it number one. If you're looking for a total degenerate gamble, that's going to be Goblin here. You can earn a ton of rewards, and all of those rewards auto compound into more rewards. And if we're looking at, a $10,000 per token coin or even more, the profits are going to be huge. If you're looking for something a little bit safer, I would say between YDF and MMY. But with MMY, we've already kind of broken out. I'm not necessarily advising everybody to go and buy it right this second. It's still a low market cap crypto. I still think it has a lot more upside potential. But I do see a very clear 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like we're getting the completion of our wave 5. And so if that's the case, we could be in for a deeper correction. We could come all the way back down here to this level. And so just be aware of that. I'm not trying to convince anybody to buy the top, but with that being said, low caps, you never really know where the top is. With this one, I tried to get you guys in as early as possible, and so I'm really just making this as an update. But like I said, you guys, thank you all so much for the support. It truly means the world to me. I love you guys, I respect you guys, and I cannot wait to see you guys make a ton of money over this next cycle. If you guys want to join the signals, follow all these trades before I ever post them. Links are going to be in the description for anybody to go ahead and join and sign up. It's a lifetime access for my entire group. Anybody that gets access is going to know exactly what I'm buying with NFTs, what I'm buying, and how I'm making money inside of DeFi, different signals that I'm giving. All of these signals were given early to my VIPs at a lower entry point. And so if you want to get in at the ground floor before any of these break out, you got to join the signal service. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.